In early 2016, educators statewide began assisting the Ohio Department of Education in updating Ohio's learning standards in English language arts and mathematics, and late 2016 in social studies and science to better prepare students for college and careers. As the work was being done, the public was surveyed to gain feedback from interested members to help in proposing revisions to the standards. Some of the members of the advisory group were from the Indian Creek Local School District. The local school district administration office consists of Superintendent Dr. T.C. Chapelier, Assistant Superintendent John Belt, Director of Federal Programs Georgia Pavlik, and Director of Literacy and Title Programs Dr. Nicole McDonald. The Board of Education is comprised of Dan Bovey, Dr. John Feigl, Bob Smith, Kim Mark, and Dr. Ted Starkey. The local elementary school, Wintersville Elementary, is headed by Principal Lori Jarrett. The curriculum that will be highlighted today is English Language Arts Reading Foundational Skills. The type of student that elementary teachers must work with are in large part as a result of their protected, structured, and positively reinforced upbringing. An exceptionally accomplished, positive, upbeat, and optimistic generation. This makes the students confident in their learning. Dr. Bourne and Stompenfresh further go on to demonstrate that today's adults are spatial, confident, intelligent, the best educated, advanced in many fields, and multitaskers. Students in the classroom can text and play video games at the same time and are very confident in their technology skills. Millennials are also team-oriented, and they are not individualistic risk-takers like boomers or cynical and disengaged like Generation Xers. Millennials are civic-minded, trust in leaders, and are team-oriented. Finally, students of the 21st century are achieving. Dr. Ash's PowerPoint reports that this is the first time in history of the human race that a generation of kids has overtaken their parents in the use of new technologies. The advisory group had to take this into consideration when designing their curriculum for ELA. The curriculum design that the State Department of Education chose was subject-centered. Armstrong points out that one of the key principles in curriculum design is determine the needs of the students in relationship to what is required in the standards. Ohio's learning standards for English language arts is aligned with the standards and directly links those standards within its model curriculum. In addition, selection of a curriculum should include significance and validity, authenticity, match student characteristics, readability of supporting materials, developmentally appropriate, student interest, integration, and teacher backgrounds. The principle of scope is evident in English language arts standards in Ohio for second grade reading foundational skills, as it clearly aligns all the state standards for foundational skills from Target 3 to Target 4. It is also backed by research from the National Reading Panel. The principle of sequence is seen as the standards are listed in the same order as the State Department listing. The principle of continuity is demonstrated as the lessons progress from first grade to second grade. Phonics makes decoding an integral part of the reading and writing experience is a perfect example of the principle of correlation. Principle of balance is seen as each topic of the strand of reading foundations is given ample and equal consideration for each curriculum element. Build-in statements for the targets of the next grade level demonstrate the principle of spiraling. The English language standards for reading foundations are written in a topic sequence with part-to-whole teaching. Armstrong also stated that students' needs must meet interest, and those must meet standards. Marzano's research shows that there's a strong connection between student interest and high learning and achievement. Quality instruction is the single biggest factor influencing gains in achievement, and influence many times greater than poverty or per pupil expenditures. The State Department of Ohio worked hard to create an advisory committee to help with standards revision in English language arts and mathematics first, and then social studies and science. Members representing education associations, teachers, and local citizens reviewed all the survey feedback to identify where changes should be made. Model curricula to align with their revised standards was then created for each subject. As Armstrong explains, standards provide a common statement about what students should learn in the classroom. Elements of curriculum should include standards, enduring understandings, essential questions, content, skills, results, assessment, learning activities, and resources. The English Language Arts Standards has all of these elements, while the Social Studies Standards is missing the essential questions. The instructional strategies and resource element in ELA is connected to real-life application, as students are encouraged to create their own words within the spelling skills. By the end of the first grade, students should have mastered basic features of print and understanding the spoken word in connection with syllables and sounds or phonemes. Beginning third grade, students will decode words with affixes and sound out multisyllable words. The curriculum even includes resources for diverse learners such as gifted, ELL, and students with disabilities. The developmentally driven Words Their Way instructional approach is highly suggested to create a balanced reading diet. The balanced reading diet in Words Their Way highlights the stages of reading development. Emergent stage, important to moving to the next level, is the concept of word or print to speech match. Finger pointing to memorize rhymes, jingle songs, and dictations, repeated reading of little books, natural language, and controlled vocabulary is done 20% of the time. Concept of print, alphabet, phonological awareness, and writing are 20%. Beginning stage. The important thing to moving to the next level is fluency, repeated reading of familiar text, curl and echo reading of controlled vocabulary text, and text taped reading. This is done 40% of the time. Word study, comprehension, and writing are all done 20% of the time. Transitional stage. The important thing to moving on is comprehension. Silent reading in instructional reading text, directed reading thinking activities, graphic organizers, and closed reading, done 40% of the time. Fluency, word studying, and writing are all also 20% of the time. The early literacy specialists at the June Harless Center of Marshall University support the fact that the key to success in reading is focus on speech sounds, spelling patterns, and word meanings. The Ohio Learning Standards for Reading Foundations follows these experts as the students use letter names to spell out sounds, begin to segment sounds into words, expand sight vocabulary, acquire a concept of word, begin sorts that rely on words rather than pictures, use invented spelling, and focus on words with short vowels. In the next stage, third grade, there's no more tracking the reading with fingers. The oral readency fluency is up to 100 words per minute. Students are orally reading and progress to silent reading. Writing fluency increases, and they're reading at least 30 minutes a day. Once the students have mastered each lesson, concept, and then the grade level, teachers must assess for progress and demonstration of mastery. The goal of a standardized curriculum is to also develop reliable and valid assessments to measure knowledge. Standards were meant to anchor down the core, most important content to be taught to all students in the classroom. The assessments must match the standards to be taught in order to provide a fair rating of students' knowledge and learning. The desired outcome of an evaluation is to improve teaching and to better meet the needs of students, to examine the effects of introducing a new curriculum, to satisfy one's curiosity of does it really work, to justify school practices to the public, to fulfill accountability requirements, to respond to dissatisfaction with school procedures, to settle conflicts within the school about power, rules, or personalities, and distinguish among the best practices. A well-designed evaluation must be created that will be sensitive to the impact on various peoples and groups, as well as different groups that focus on different aspects of the evaluation to ensure fairness and equality to all. Results from making words can be posted on chart paper for future viewing, showing the progress made by each student. Reading text in itself is an assessment, as reading is the act of recognizing words and then understanding the individual and collective meaning of those words. Repeated oral reading of the selected text shows growth in fluency. Weekly spelling and cold reading, vocabulary, and comprehension tests are built into the curriculum for proper assessment. Unit tests also accurately pinpoint mastery for missing standards. The progression of skills from first grade to third grade can help teachers determine where gaps are in the mastery of skills, and standards can be revised from one grade below or one grade above to compensate for diverse learners and bridge the gaps. The final summative state assessment is used as a norm-referenced assessment for all students. In the end, this last type of assessment is the one that carries 50% of student-teacher evaluations. The revised standards for English language arts includes glossaries and examples of key components in the Reading Foundational Skills curriculum. Most employers today are more interested in prospects that have critical thinking, personal financial responsibility, and informational technology. Critical thinkers should not only be able to answer right their questions with direct links to text, but also higher order questions such as what if. Bloom's order of thinking is a great asset in the Ohio Learning Standards. English Language Arts Reading Foundational Skills content uses keywords such as demonstrate and explain answers. Problem solvers should be able to solve problems both academically and socially. Giving children challenging word building in teams helps with these skills. Good communicators learn how to talk and listen. Read alouds within the fluency topic creates good listeners and speakers. Good collaborators is demonstrated in working with mixed teams. Most employers are looking for team players. Students who are flexible and adaptable are modeled when different genres of text are used in reading. Innovative and creative students develop as they come up with their own words, meanings of vocabulary, and invented spelling. Globally competent students are developed as text from different cultures is incorporated in reading curriculum. Environmentally literate students are created when text also includes world issues. Students become informational and technology literate when internet-based enrichment and reteaching activities are used within the reading series. Alvin Toffler says it best, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And most and foremost, students need to be technology proficient, globally aware, civically engaged, and financially and economically literate to be productive citizens and employees. The revised standards help teachers to deeply understand the content area and better serve the students in order to be able to compete in a global market.
Now for a song of the singing school and the sounds who there may hear, of the do, re, mi, and the G, A, B, and the voices ringing clear. La 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 la. Lines and spaces, clefs and keys, all must tell with ease. Keep the time with accent strong, full and clear the tones prolong. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do is the major scale, you know. Even double, triple I say, ho, 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 ha, 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 drive the care away. Now for a song of the singing school, and the sounds you there may hear of the door